if you can make it past that refusal, then comes the next stage of the hero's journey, which is the crossing of the first threshold. And so if you think of a threshold, it is a boundary. It is a boundary line that sort of demarcates your comfort zone from that of the external or unknown. Okay, the threshold stands for the limits, then, basically, of the hero's present sphere or life horizon. I want you to take a look at the picture on this slide, because the threshold there is represented by that slit between the two doors that are opening, but there are these two large imposing figures on either side of these doors. And these are what are referred to by Joseph Campbell as threshold guardians. So the threshold guardians tend to be embodiments of our own fears, our limitations, and our weaknesses. And so they may take the form of, on the one hand, friends and family, the friends and family that basically are inhabiting your known sphere of activity, that are sort of like trying to convince you that you don't want to, venture outside of what is known, because this is where safety is. You know what? You need to stay put because that idea is a little bit crazy. You don't know if that's going to actually bear positive fruit. You don't know what can happen to you if you start that business. You have a steady job here. Why are you doing that, right? So that's the one threshold guardian on the one hand, on the one side of the door. And I like to think of the threshold guardian on the other side of the door as our own ego, okay? Like I mentioned before, the ego can be very convincing to let us feel like, or make us feel like we need to stay put because this is what is known, this is what is comfortable, and therefore this is what is going to ensure survival because we haven't died yet, and therefore if we stay here, then we're safe. Joseph Campbell says this. He says, the usual person is more than content. He is even proud to remain within the indicated bounds, and popular belief gives him every reason to fear so much as the first step into the unexplored. So, this is very instructive because it tells you that a lot of times people gain a source of pride from, being in a set place all their lives, and they've always been this way and we will always be this way. But this is a sign of stagnation. It is not a sign of growth or growth mindset. And so if you want to grow and evolve, then you must cultivate the type of mentality where you are willing to go beyond your comfort zone, right? If you allow those that have refused to go on their own hero's journeys to convince you that you need to stay where you are, then you will never grow yourself, just like these people are not growing in their own lives, okay? So how may this be applied to entrepreneurship? Well, we take a major leap of faith, right? When it comes to crossing that threshold, remember, the threshold is the threshold or the barrier between the known and the comfortable and the unknown and where there's growth. And so we need to take a leap of faith in order to step past the known and into the unknown. So what that looks like is we listen to the threshold guardians, and hey, we just have to feel the fear and we act anyway, right? So we may take that major leap of faith, and we may decide that it's time to quit that job, or it's time to fully commit to that entrepreneurial venture. So once we make that decision to commit and we take that first step in the direction of our goals, of our business, of our entrepreneurship, that is where we cross the threshold into the next stage.